Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and the first thing I want to say is this, guys, okay? This video is not meant to go ahead and start any drama with Grand Cardone and all this stuff. In reality, I watch a ton of videos on YouTube every single day. So just like you, I also watch ads all the time, right? Now, I've been seeing this consistent ad with Grand Cardone saying, for example, hey, if you follow the 40% rule when it comes to money, you will become wealthy a lot faster. I guarantee it. Click this link right here. I'll teach you how to do it. Oh my gosh, that's great. Well, today, I want to break down that 40% rule, tell you if it makes sense, or for example, if it doesn't make sense. Spoiler alert, I really don't like it, and I'll tell you why in this video. Now, if you guys are new here, I post videos every single day, so you should also subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified, on top of also destroying the like button. Now, the first thing is this, guys, okay? I think Grant Cardone is cool. I just don't agree with everything he says. Hey, never buy a house. Hey, lease your cars. Do all this stuff. Things like that I just don't agree with. Hey, borrow a lot of money to build up a lot of income. Things like that I just don't agree with. It's not the way I want to become wealthy. But I do say, hey, that guy built wealth, great for him, but that's not something I'm interested in. On top of that, little background here before I start talking about Grant Cardone's plan with the 40% rule. The idea is that Grant Cardone, according to Grant Cardone, by the way, the only source I have here, is basically at age 10, he lost his pops and his mom basically raised them to be very defensive when it came to money. Basically, you grab money, you hoard it, you don't spend it. You're very defensive with it. Now, you might say, Tommy, that's a bad way to raise a kid, but in reality, when you think about it, Grant Cardone's mom basically went through the entire Great Depression, meaning I understand why she thinks that way. It used to be back then, I know if you went to history class in America, you've seen pictures of the bread lines where basically people had to go on bread lines to get fed bread in America because basically there were no jobs anywhere. So I can understand where that mentality came from to be very defensive with money. Also, people take different attitudes towards different things in history. Sam Walton also went through the Great Depression. Now, Sam Walton is the creator of Walmart. He used that entire experience to fuel him to create a massive company, but to also understand, hey, a dollar is valuable. I'm not going to go out there and waste it and put all this money in debt and all this extra stuff, okay? However, Grant Cardone grabs the entire idea of, hey, I don't want to be defensive. I want to use this money to go ahead and build wealth. That is the entire idea. And again, I don't blame him either. I can see how both parties could actually go ahead and think those two separate things, okay? Now, we understand that. We have some background and disclaimer. I think Grant Cardone is cool. I just don't like his formula. That's all it is here, okay? Now, let's talk about Grant Cardone's plan when it comes to financial freedom and also building a lot of wealth, right? And there's three main parts that I actually do like and agree with. And the first one is basically, you have to have a goal in order to accomplish financial freedom. So basically, how much money do you want and how are you actually going to get there? And I agree. If you don't have a plan, it's kind of like driving without knowing where you're going. You're never going to get there. Also, number two, you need to find out exactly where the money actually is. How to go out there and earn some income. Income is the most powerful thing. And again, I also agree. If you don't have any income, you can't make any money. It's like being a farmer without a farm, or for example, without any seeds. I also agree with this. The third thing is basically, where can I actually go ahead and invest my money into to give me a positive return on my money and also a fair return on my money? And the answer is, I also agree with that. Investing is also very important. And overall, okay, also, you have to know what you're investing into, not just investing. What am I investing into? Especially when you talk about, hey, I'm going to invest my money into Grant Cardone Capital. Just make sure, or Cardone Capital. You have to make sure you know exactly what you're getting into and what all the terms are. Don't just say, hey, Grant Cardone is great. I'm going to invest my money here. The answer is no. Do your research and your due diligence when it comes to investing. Now, those three rules, guys, are the three main rules I actually agree with. But there's actually more rules to this plan. And the idea is that rule number 4 is you want to go ahead and you want to live off of 60% of your income and then basically invest off of 40%. Now, how do you do this if you don't earn a lot of income? The idea is you have to go out there and spend a lot of your time going out there and making and earning more income. That way, your income is so high to the point where you can live on 60% and basically go out there and invest that 40%. Is this impossible? The answer is no. It is not impossible. It's actually very realistic. It is going to take a lot of work though, and you have to understand that. Now, rule 5, I actually kind of agree with, but also don't agree with. And the answer is you never want to use debt for buying cars, for school, or for anything you don't need. I agree with that. But you do want to use debt when it comes to building and increasing your income. That I don't agree with, that Grant Cardone says. And if you do this, to a massive extent, you're going to build a tower full of debt. And in reality, if you do this, guess what happens? If anything goes wrong, you can potentially go ahead and lose everything. And that's why Warren Buffett says all the time, hey, when the tide goes down, you're going to see exactly who was skinny dipping, because margins, borrowing a lot of money is never a good idea if what you want is security and to build real concrete wealth, okay? It's just a fast way to get up a hill and a fast way to get down. Well, much faster, right? Because you can lose literally everything. So be very careful with this stuff, and that's why this part I don't agree with. So overall, Tommy, what is the entire idea here with this plan? This entire plan sounds cool. You live off 60% and you basically invest 40%. This way you get to your financial goals a lot faster. But in reality, it lacks a lot of things, because in reality, it's not just income and also investing, because investments go down, income you can be lost, right? Because you can lose your income. So these two things are not enough. You also need security. And that's why I don't agree with this plan. For example, okay, I have a big income, great. I'm investing money, great. But what happens if I lose my job? Well, I have a problem now. What happens if my investments go down? Well, I have another problem now, right? So overall, there's also emergencies. There's also paying down debt. There's also a lot more factors that are not included in this plan. So I said, for example, Tommy, why don't you try to go ahead and improve this plan just a little bit to see exactly what you can go ahead and come up with. And here is exactly what I came up with to actually go ahead and improve this plan of just, hey, 60% here, 40% here. That doesn't work that well. By the way, it's just 5 steps. The first step is basically grab 40% and save $1,000 in case anything goes wrong while you're doing this plan. This way, if something breaks or something goes wrong, you can have that $1,000 to go ahead and basically bounce back. Now, step number 2 is paying down all of your debt. Meaning, if you have student loan debt, if you have personal loan debt, if you have a car loan, credit card debt, every single debt except the mortgage, I want you to use that 40% to go ahead and pay it all off and live still off that 60%. Okay, we're in agreement there. Now, step 3 is basically start building wealth, where basically you grab that 20% of it and you put it towards building a full emergency fund. That way, if you lose your job, you still have 3 to 6 months to go ahead and figure things out. Also, 20% towards investing, for example, into index funds, into a business, or for example, into real estate. But my method of real estate is basically, when you buy one rental property, don't move on to the next until that one is fully paid off. That way, again, you're not building a tower of debt that if things go wrong, you're going to come down crashing also. That's how I do it. And by the way, I highly recommend you do this with index funds. It's very passive and a very easy way to build wealth long term. So again, 20% towards the emergency fund and then 20% towards investing. That's what I would do. And then again, live off of that 60%. Now, once you're done with that, guys, by this point, you have a full-blown emergency fund and you also been investing money. Now, step number 4 is basically buying your first house and actually owning that first house. Now, by the way, apparently, Grant Cardone says all the time, hey, you want to rent where you live, rent your car, all this other stuff, like lease your car, all this stuff. You don't want to buy those things, just invest your money, right? But in reality, I heard someone on YouTube, for example, me, Kevin, said, hey, he actually owns the house where he actually lives, but he just rents it to himself with an LLC. That way he has a credit line to go ahead and invest money. It's a lot of leverage going on with Grant Cardone, and that's why I don't like it. Now, here is what I would do in step number 4. By this point, you have a full-blown emergency fund. So now you have 20% to go ahead and put towards the mortgage to finish a lot faster. Now, again, that 60% you have is supposed to be to pay your mortgage, to pay all your bills, and to pay for everything. But now you have 20% extra to go ahead and pay off the mortgage a lot faster, between 7 to 10 years. The other 20%, you grab that money and you put it towards investing. That is exactly what I would do. Now, step 5, the last step here is, by this point, you have your own house, you own it. An emergency fund, you have investments, and on top of that, you have a ton of money because basically you have a very low expense ratio compared to your income. That's the cool thing here. By this point, you have freedom. It might take you between 7 to 10 years, but in reality, show me one person that has gotten rich very quickly and has been able to actually keep the wealth. Tommy, but Grant Cardone's rich. In reality, Grant Cardone is in his 50s, bro. Warren Buffett's in his 90s, okay, and became rich like in his 30s and so on. It takes a lot of time to build wealth the correct way. And overall, guys, although this budget sounds great, I still don't like it because it lacks a lot of things, including the one I just made for you in this video with this Grant Cardone thing. I just don't like it overall. It lacks a lot of things. For example, building habits. Giving money away, it's very important. And also, what about your kids, like they're like college fund and all that stuff, right? It lacks a lot of security in other places. That's why if you want to know exactly how I invest my money and what my plan basically is, I'm going to link a video down below to my financial plan and exactly how I'm going to get there with a full-blown plan to get there, okay? That's the entire idea. Link down below if you want to see exactly how to get there with my way. But overall, Grant Cardone's plan, it's not that it's bad, but it lacks a lot of things and is also very risky. If something were to go wrong with Grant Cardone and all this stuff, he could be in massive trouble. And that is not the life I want to build. When things go wrong, I want to have a smile because basically it means, hey, I own everything, but everything now is on discount and I can go ahead and buy more things for a massive discount. That's what I want. I don't want to be the guy crying or losing my mind or firing employees when things go down, okay? That is not what I want. But, you know, sometimes you have to do that stuff, but it is part of the game. But overall, guys, that's what I think about Grant Cardone's 40-60 plan. And again, it's not biased, but it's more like, hey, these things need to be improved, and those are the improvements that I actually recommend. Now, overall, I'll see you guys next time. If you like this video right here, well, like this video. On top of that, also, switch your channel and hit the bell so you're notified if you're new here. And if you want to text me or talk to me one-on-one, join my Patreon, link down below, or send me a DM on Instagram at TommyBryson. And if you want to watch that video on my full financial plan, well, here's that video right here. And click the picture now. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.